Okay, I hope everyone's doing okay. My name's Caleb Green. I'm a student here at the University of North Georgia, and I study psychological science. I'm going to be doing this presentation for Dr. Matthew Stapleton's abnormal psychology class. And today, I'm going to talk about the effectiveness of medication in treating attention deficit hyperactivity disorder in children. And hopefully, we can learn something together. All right, the main ideas. The number one idea that I've got as far as the effectiveness of medication goes is the effectiveness of medication management in treating young adults and children with ADHD. How effective is medication in treating HD? Are there any ways to combine it with therapy or other types of medication? Are there any other options that stand alone by themselves against medication to treat ADHD? What medications are there that treat ADHD, and how effective are they? There's a few reasons, but that I wanted to study the effectiveness of medication in treating ADHD, but the most imperative and the one that stands out the most to me as far as science goes is the absolute drastic number of children that are diagnosed with ADHD that attend the public school system and what is being done to help them. Um, what absolutely blew my mind is here's a statistic that I thought was absolutely crazy that we learned in abnormal psych, but according to the Centers for Disease Control, boys are almost twice as likely to be diagnosed with ADHD as opposed to girls. And I think that's absolutely uh, a magnificent number. Now, as far as what I want to talk about, um, what is ADHD? For time's sake, I'm going to refer to it as ADHD, but the technical name is Attention Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder. Um, what are the common medications used to treat ADHD? Uh, Most of them are either going to be a stimulant or a non-stimulant. We'll talk about that. And the most effective way to utilize those medications in treating ADHD. First and foremost, in order to discuss how to treat it, we must first understand what it is. So, what is ADHD? And according to the DSM-5, which is the newest edition of the Diagnostics and Statistics Manual, um, a child must, a child or an adult, as far as that goes, must have at least 6 symptoms for inattention and hyperactivity on a list. And some of those symptoms for inattention would be, perchance, trouble holding attention. They don't speak or respond to when spoken directly. They don't like to engage in tasks that require mental effort for long periods of time. They lose things. They're easily distracted. And for hyperactivity, it could be they fidget, they tap their feet when they're sitting down, they leave their seat unexpectedly, they talk excessively, and the one that stands out the most is they act as though they're driven by a motor. Now, that's only a few from the list that is given to us in the DSM. However, a child or an adult must display at least 6 symptoms for inattention and at least 6 symptoms for hyperactivity for at least 6 months. And this is the most important part because children are children and children sometimes have some of these symptoms just uh, normally. The symptoms must be inappropriate for the person's developmental level. That's very important. Moving on. Medications. What are the medications in treating ADHD? There's two main types of medication in treating ADHD. The first one is a stimulant, and it's exactly what it sounds like. It stimulates the body. It increases alertness. It increases attention. It boosts energy and increases heart rate and respiration in most cases, not everybody, but most cases. And then on the opposite end of the spectrum, we have non-stimulants, and they have something more in common with antidepressants or sedatives. Um, Now, as far as stimulants go, most of them work by increasing dopamine levels in the brain. Now, common prescription, common brand names for stimulants would be Adderall, Concerta, Ritalin, Vyvanse. We've most all heard of those name brand medications. But each and every medication, and trust me, that's only a very, very, very minute few of the long, long list of stimulants that are prescribed day to day by physicians, clinicians, and psychiatrists alike for treating ADHD, and that's a small, small list as opposed to the drastic number of medications that are out there. However, each one has something a little bit different about it that may make it work more effectively for some as opposed to others. Some give a big kick of energy when you first take it, and they time release slowly throughout the day. Some are right the opposite. Some give you a slow release and give you a big burst in the afternoon. Some are short acting, long acting. They're all a little bit different, but each person requires something a little bit different. So it's a good thing that there are many. There may be too many. There may not be enough. But that's a topic for another day. Now, as far as non-stimulants go, which is on the opposite end of the spectrum, you'll see that I've listed second-line treatments. Now, let's go back for just a moment. Stimulants usually work for 70 to 80% of children, according to the Centers for Disease Control. So probably when a child goes in to be evaluated and diagnosed for ADHD, probably 70% of the time, a physician's going to prescribe them a stimulant right off the bat because stimulants work for 70 to 80% of children. Now, well, Caleb, what are you going to do about the other 20% of children? Well, that's where non-stimulants come in. Those are sometimes referred to as second line treatments because they're second as opposed to stimulants, not because they're second rate or second quality, but because stimulants usually work. But when they don't, option number two, let's try a non-stimulant. So you see atomoxetine is a common non-stimulant, Strattera is its brand name, clonidine, and guanfacine, Intuniv. Now, Strattera boosts norepinephrine levels in the brain, and clonidine is a sedative, so it kind of just calms you down. Now, let's get down to the nitty-gritty. What are we here to talk about? We're here to talk about the effective ways to utilize the medication. So we know what the medication is, we know what we're trying to treat. Now, what's the most effective way to use it? And according to a study by the MTA Cooperative Group, they found that the most effective way to treat symptoms of ADHD, once again, that's comes from our list of criteria from the DSM-5. That could be trouble holding attention, they don't speak to when spoken directly, they tap their feet, they leave their seat unexpectedly, just a few. The most effective way to treat those symptoms is by medication, using a stimulant or a non-stimulant or another type of medication. The best way to treat it is just straight out, give them some medicine, and most of the time it's going to help them. Now, that treats their symptoms. However, it may not treat their behavioral disruptions or help them apply themselves in the learning atmosphere. So then is when you see a psychiatrist, psychologist, or a physician try to implement a little bit of therapy to help with their behavioral disruptions. So maybe some behavioral therapy that would help them in the classroom. But the most important add-on with medication is an individualized treatment plan. You see it right there, treatment plans. And that would be an individualized treatment plan to the child, uh, put together in cooperation with their teachers and parents, um, that would help them be the best that they could be along with the medication. So let's say that they put little Johnny on a stimulant that gives them a quick boost of stimulant in the morning and then time release throughout the day. Maybe because we found that little Johnny is more focused in the morning because of his medication, helping him be a little bit more focused in the morning. Maybe he should take his academics in the morning and then after lunch have recess and go to the gym and things like that. That works for little Johnny, and that's his individualized treatment plan. And little Susie might be right the opposite. So an individualized treatment plan is one of the most important aspects that coincides with the effectiveness of medication for treating it in children. Conclusions. We're almost done. So what have we found? We found that stimulants work for 70 to 80% of children. And for the other 20 and 30%, non-stimulants usually help most of them. And of course, there's always going to be an outlier. There's always going to be somebody a little bit different. And there's options for them too. Now, behavioral therapy helps with disruptions, helps with things that medication is not designed to help with. Um, but the most important way to enhance the effectiveness of the medication, what we're here talking about, what makes medications most effective in children, is a treatment plan that's individualized to the student. Okay, and I took up enough of your time. I do appreciate your patience. I hope that you've learned something. Maybe we can learn something together and apply it in our future endeavors. And I hope you have a great one. Thank you.